Hello everyone, welcome to Amazing Dinosaurs on YouTube. I found an awesome new toy. This is a real feel new dino set from Mattel. It's a Jurassic World Legacy Collection, Giganotosaurus vs. Therizinosaurus. This is the new Reimagined series from Mattel. Giganotosaurus vs. King Kong. Therizinosaurus vs. King Kong! I will slash you open! No, you don't! Are awesome. Go ahead and take a look. First of all, the Giganotosaurus is rubber. It's got the real feel like you did on the old Hasbro dinos from Jurassic Park. It'll eat figures. It has a slot in the belly. You can pull the figures out just like the Jurassic Park one. You got a Therizinosaurus with slashing action, brand new coloring, really cool looking. And if you check out the back, it looks awesome because you have to look at it vertically or up and down, because it's a huge picture there. The Giganotosaurus fighting the Therizinosaurus. It says roaring sounds, posable tail, real feel, and there goes my dino falling off the table, but whatever. So it's really cool, and the thing I noticed, it's made in China. So with the new exports taxes Trump has added, this toy might double in price. So if you're interested, go buy it now. Okay, let's go ahead and free them from the packaging. Here they are out of the box, and they are totally awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Giganotosaurus first because it's the coolest. Okay, so the part I like the most, they're trying to recreate some of the older dinos from Jurassic Park. So this is the rubber real feel kind. The whole body is rubber except for the legs, arms, and head, and the tail also, so that is really cool. You could flex it into different positions. It has an awesome roar. That's one. Okay, and then just like the Jurassic Park ones, these will swallow full-size action figures here. So they'll swallow it. It'll go down, right down their throat there. And then there's an actual slit in the stomach. So you go ahead, open it up, and pull the character right out of the slit. It almost looks like he cut the dino's stomach open and he's escaping. Okay, so the coloring is awesome. The positions, I've been trying to get it to stand in some. Okay, there we go. So there is like a charging position, which is really cool. Another thing I like, the arms do move. You can put them out into different positions, where the Jurassic Park ones, what they're trying to imitate, you couldn't do that with them. So that makes it cooler. You could put it in lots of different positions. The teeth are awesome. You have two rows of teeth, the big row on the outside, then a little row on the inside. I've never seen Mattel do that before. So it's a lot more realistic. The teeth are made out of rubber and they feel really cool. Like an olive, darker green, gray coloring, orange eyes. Like I said, the whole thing is rubber. So it feels awesome. You can see, I mean, this is all rubber here. It is awesome. You got some red on the throat there. So there we have it. So size-wise comparison, there it is with the Hammond collection Giganotosaurus, which was one of it used to be the biggest Hammond collection figure. I think the Spinosaurus behind there that just came out is actually a little bit bigger. I'll show you that in a minute. But anyways, there we have our Giganotosaurus, and she is awesome. So the fat guy's just skipping through the forest having the day of his life when all of a sudden he gets swallowed by the Giganotosaurus, which chomps him right down into his belly, and then it goes ahead and poops him out. One thing I did forget, with these new reimagined ones from Mattel, they're trying to imitate the Jurassic Park dinos. This is a Chaos Theory Jurassic Park dino that Hasbro made. It's really cool looking. But with these ones too, you had them eat full-size action figures, and then they had the slot at the stomach, which you take the action figures right out of the slot in the stomach. So they're trying to imitate the Jurassic Park ones. Okay, then we have our awesome new Therizinosaurus with slashing action. This is really cool. You could have the claws like flash like that up and down, or you could actually turn the claws outward and have him slash like that there. So it's like, looks like a cat fight. So anyways, with this one, you got 360-degree movement on the neck. And then you also have 360-degree movement on the head itself. So you could have it spin around like the Exorcist. Okay, so anyways, so they did a really great job with the paint. I mean, the teeth, everything on this one. It's got like feathers on the jaw, on the arms, on the tail there. Different attack positions. You could have it come in all the way down low. You could have it in the mid-range there. Just gotta adjust the feet a little bit, and then you could have it all the way up where I like it. I mean, just standing up and attacking. Full movement on the arms also. You could move the arms out and twist them at the elbow. The feet also do twist. So it is a really cool looking Therizinosaurus. I will also give you guys the scan codes at the end of this video. So it's Therizinosaurus versus Giganotosaurus. I will slash you open. And down he goes. That's the end of our Therizinosaurus. Okay, I did say I would let you check out the brand new Jurassic World Hammond collection, Spinosaurus. It's huge. If you ask me, it's actually bigger than the Giganotosaurus, which you see over there. And it's in my custom Jurassic Park gates, which are huge. The doors do open, the lights on the side light up. I did a full review of that. I had that custom made. That'll actually fit super colossal T-Rex or any of the super colossal dinos. It's T-Rex versus Giganotosaurus. Who will be our victor? Oops. I guess battle's over. Indominus Rex versus Therizinosaurus. Oh, and down he goes. Battle is over. I did forget to do the size comparison. Here is the Thrasher, Therizinosaurus we had before. They had like the roaring, chomping action, and then the side to side, like attacking. This guy's like, took him down. Time to add it to our Jurassic World Fun app. Hit the scan button, scan off the pictures I included for you. And there we have our awesome Giganotosaurus. Check that girl out. She is awesome. Let's go ahead and there we go. Ah, she got blocked by the tree. Okay, let's go. There we go. The tree is there. Okay, time to move on. Let's go ahead and get our Therizinosaurus. Scan off the picture I included for you guys. And there we have her. Awesome Therizinosaurus. Check her out. I love it. She sounds like a girl screaming. Oh man. Oh, cool. If you've been following my videos, guys, you have a ton. I believe 34 of the Jurassic World Dominion dinosaurs that I included the scan codes for you guys. So if you're missing any, check out my earlier videos.
Today we're checking out some of Jurassic World's best carnivore figures and arranging them from biggest all the way to the smallest. Plus, I've got some new ones that we're gonna check out as well. The first and largest figure is this super colossal Carnivore Toro figure. It has the dark orange body with the brown coloring on top, tons of little spikes, and the huge horns on its head. Next up in size is this super colossal Velociraptor blue figure. This figure features the classic blue stripe down the side, and has fully posable arms, legs, and a jaw too. Next up in size is another Velociraptor blue figure, but this one is a bit different. This figure is battery operated, so let's see what happens when we turn it on. That is pretty cool. It blinks and its eyes move, and it even has sound effects. Moving on to the next in size, let's go with this custom colored Spinosaurus figure. This figure features way more intricate and cool coloring than the original Mattel figure featured. It features posable arms, legs, and a tail, and even the neck and the jaw. Let's set this figure down next to the robotic Velociraptor blue figure. Next up, why don't we go with this Terran T-Rex figure. This T-Rex has some of the classic brown and tan coloring, and best of all, it features an awesome tearing feature when you press the button on its back. Look at that jaw-chomping action. And we're gonna set this down as the next biggest dinosaur in this carnivore collection. Over here is another Terran T-Rex, but this one was actually custom colored. Let's set them down side by side so we can see the color differences. This one is a lot darker, and it actually has a lot more battle damage painted all over its body. And look at that, even some more battle damage on the other side. That is really cool. Let's set this down next in line. For the next in size, we're gonna go with this camouflage T-Rex figure. This is one of my favorite custom colored dinosaurs because of this really cool green camo color that has all over its body. And this figure has a chomping action when you move its tail, and a roaring action too. This figure is super cool, so let's set this as the next biggest dinosaur. For the next biggest carnivore figure, we're gonna go with this Camp Cretaceous Epic Roaring T-Rex. This figure has the classic tan body, and it features a button on its tail for a roaring and chomping action. This one is definitely cool, so let's set this down next in size. Looks like we've got a few more T-Rex figures in here. Here is another green T-Rex, but this one isn't custom colored. This is actually how it came. It's got some black detailing along the top of its head, and it has a button on the top of its head for the chomping and roaring action. Plus, its arms and legs and tail and neck are fully posable, just like many of these other T-Rex figures. Alright, here might be one of my last T-Rex figures in this Carnivore collection. This one is the classic bright orange, and it features opposable arms, legs, tail, neck, and jaw too. Why don't we dig into this one next? This is part of the new Epic Attack series from Jurassic World. This is the battle-chomping Carnotaurus. And here it is. It looks like it has 3 different action buttons on this Carnotaurus figure. The first 2 are light and sound effect buttons that you can push for different sounds. So depending on how many times you press these buttons, it has different sound effects. And the third button is a classic chomping action button. The color and texturing design is pretty similar to the older Carnotaurus figures. It's mostly that clay red orange color. It has some brown detailing throughout, and of course it's got the bright yellow eyes. Overall, this figure's pretty cool. I love the fact that there are different sound effects and different battle damage buttons. Alright, let's set this next in line as the next largest Carnivore figure. Over here we've got the Scorpius Rex figure from Camp Cretaceous. And it has 2 action buttons on its back. The first operates the jaw with the sound effects. And the second button on its back activates the claws for a slashing action. That is pretty cool, and it is quite a large figure. And it is the next in size. For our next one, let's grab this classic Indoraptor figure. This is the grab and growl Indoraptor, and it is pretty hard to find online nowadays. I don't think they're making this one anymore. It's got 1 button on the top of its tail for the claw slashing action, and another button on the bottom of its tail for a jaw chomping action. Alright, this figure is pretty awesome, so let's set this next in line as the next biggest. Over here, I've got another Carnotaurus figure, but this one is quite a bit older. I think this one came out for the second Jurassic World movie, which was Fallen Kingdom. As you can see, they're a slightly different red color, and this figure is a little bit smaller than that one as well. But it still has 1 button on its back for the chomping action. Very cool. Alright, let's set this down. This next figure is really long, but it's actually a little bit shorter than the Carnotaurus figure, which is why it's next in line. This, I believe, was called the Ocean Protector Mosasaurus figure. You can move all of its fins, and its jaw opens and closes too. Alright, let's keep going. Let's go with this Jurassic Park juvenile T-Rex figure. This figure is quite old. You can see the JP tattoo on its leg. It's got some battle damage on its side as well. Let's set this one down next in line. For the next figure, why don't we go with another old figure? This is from Jurassic Park 3, and I believe this dinosaur is a Velociraptor. And it used to be battery operated, but sadly it doesn't work anymore. But it's still a really cool figure, so let's set this down next to the T-Rex. Up next for scary carnivores, we've got a Suchomimus figure. This version is the dark blue with the yellow spine, and it has 1 button on its back for the chomping action. And let's set this down next in line right here. For the next in size, let's see, I think we should go with the Sound Surge dinosaurs. This first one is the Giganotosaurus Sound Surge. Let's check out those sound effects. Very cool. Let's set this down next to the Suchomimus. The other Sound Surge dinosaur in this Carnivore collection is the Sound Surge Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now let's hear the sound effects for this figure. And we're gonna set it down right next to the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus. Next up is this Rowdy Roars Carnotaurus figure. It is the classic clay red and orange coloring with the brown on top. It's got a little battle damage on its nose too. Compared to the Epic Attack figure, this one is a whole lot smaller and is a little bit brighter, and of course has much larger eyes. Alright, let's set this down next to the T-Rex. The next in size is this Cryolophosaurus figure. This version has the dark blue body with the white and orange on the top. And this figure comes with sound effects, and when you move the tail, it controls the head. Alright, let's set this down next to the Carnotaurus. Up next, we've got a Baryonyx figure. I think this one might be a Camp Cretaceous Baryonyx. And it's got the slide lever action on its back for different roars and sound effects. So let's set this up next in line. I've also got a custom Hammond Collection Spinosaurus figure. It has the red running along its back and on its face, and it's got the blue, brown, and red spine, which is actually pretty similar to this other custom colored Spinosaurus figure that I have in the front. So we're gonna set this one down next in line. Over here is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx figure. It's got pretty similar coloring as this Camp Cretaceous Baryonyx figure right here. It's even got a little bit of that reflective blue coloring on its face. And let's set this one down right at the very end right here. Next up is not a dinosaur, but is actually an Owen figure from Jurassic World. This figure has the classic brown vest with the blue shirt underneath. And we're running out of room at the end of the table, so I'm gonna start a new line right up here in front. For the next in size is this Dilophosaurus figure. I believe this Dilophosaurus came out for the first Jurassic World movie and is not made by Mattel, but actually I think it's made by Hasbro. And it even has an action that when you press down on its tail, it moves its neck up and down. Let's go ahead and grab this little Velociraptor blue figure. Now this figure is actually motorized, so when you press the top of its head, it comes with sound effects and chomping motions. And now we finally get to open this other new figure. This is the Epic Attack Dilophosaurus figure. Now it looks like this Dilophosaurus figure has one button on its side, and it looks like it is for the sound effects and light. And I think it actually comes with a few different sound effects too. Let's press it again. That's pretty cool. It's like a strobing light when you press it. It looks like its legs and arms are posable, and you can open and close its mouth manually, but sadly you can't move the frills at all, so you can't bring them forward, which is a bit of a bummer if you ask me, but it is a pretty cool design. So let's set this Dilophosaurus down next to Velociraptor Blue. All right, we've only got a few small figures left. I've got two Atrociraptor figures right here. This first Atrociraptor is in the classic white and tan coloring, and this other Atrociraptor figure that I bought more recently is brighter colored. It's got some red on its arms, its neck, and its chin. And we're gonna set these two up next in line. Over here, I've got another Dilophosaurus figure, quite a bit smaller. They're both green and they have some yellow, orange, and red detailing along their frills. But this figure is actually pretty cool because you can press on the tail to activate its frills. That is really cool. Up next is another Velociraptor figure, but this is a slashing Velociraptor. That means that its torso is actually spring-loaded, so you can swing it side to side for a slashing action. And let's put this one right here. I've got another raptor over here. This one is a Pyroraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the feathers all over its body and the especially large feathers on the top of its head. And let's set this raptor down next in line. And now we're on to the really small figures over here. First up is a Baryonyx with the dark brown and blue coloring. And you can open and close its jaw too. Next up is a stalking Endoraptor figure with the gold stripe running down its side. Up next is a teeny tiny Mosasaurus figure. Look how small it is in comparison to this giant figure right there. But you can still open and close its mouth, which is pretty cool. And finally, I've got a tiny Pteranodon figure with some brown detailing on its wings, on its back, and on its horn. Today we're going to be taking all of my Jurassic World Dominion figures and we're going to be putting them from biggest over here all the way to smallest down here. This figure right here is the largest Dominion figure that I have. This is the Dreadnoughtus figure and it is super long. It's probably 3 or 4 feet in length, but it still has some really cool features. You can even open and close the mouth and twist the head around too. So let's put this dinosaur on the very far left as the biggest dinosaur. Let's see, what super colossal figure is next? It's a tough call, but I think the Giganotosaurus might be the next largest. This figure is huge, has a classic green coloring, the awesome super sharp spine, and the really cool teeth. These are pretty unique. Let's set this super colossal Giganotosaurus down right next to the Dreadnoughtus figure. These are our 2 largest figures. Next up has got to be our super colossal T-Rex with the new brown and black coloring. You won't see this on older Jurassic World figurines. This one is super cool. Let's put this right next to our giant Giganotosaurus figure. Next is this awesome Atrociraptor figure. This one is the white with 2 different tones of brown striping along its back and sides. And unlike the other super colossal figures we've seen so far, the teeth are actually fully inside the mouth compared to the other figures we've seen so far where the teeth are on kind of like the outside of the mouth. All right, there we go. Let's move on to the next biggest, which is this tall Brachiosaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. Let me stand it up. Now this dinosaur is a lot taller than these other dinosaurs right here, but its body is a bit smaller and it's just shorter in size overall, so that's why I'm putting it over here. But it's got some pretty cool detailing, the blue coloring around its head. And next up in size is this giant Apatosaurus figure. Check out the size difference between this one and the Brachiosaurus over here. It's a little bit shorter, it's still standing on all 4 legs, and it has a really long neck, but instead of going up super tall like that one, this one kind of sticks out forwards more. All right, now we're moving on to our slightly smaller figurines. We're gonna start with this T-Rex, which has the identical coloring as the super colossal figure right over there. This is a really cool T-Rex. I like the features on this one, and this one has a ginormous head compared to older Jurassic World T-Rexes. Right over here, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This one has some really cool orange-brown coloring. It has a lot more detail than many of the other Jurassic World T-Rexes. It even has marbled eyes. Check out all that texture. And these figures are super posable too, which is an awesome feature. Next, we've got this Thrashing Giganotosaurus figure in the same coloring as the super colossal figure over here. They look pretty similar. This one's quite a bit smaller, although it's still probably around a foot in length from tail to head. So let's set this down right next to the T-Rex figure. All right, what do we go with next here? I think next is this Allosaurus figure. This figure is a little bit smaller than the T-Rexes and the Giganotosaurus figure here, but it is a lot larger than a lot of my other Allosaurus figures. Plus, it has a battle damage feature right on its side that you can open and close. Let's get this standing right next to the Giganotosaurus. The next up in size is the Therizinosaurus figurine, which was really cool in the Dominion movie. So we're gonna set this down right next to the Allosaurus figure. And check out those huge claws on its hand and the really long neck with the big face at the very top. We've got another herbivore dinosaur next in size here. This is the Stegosaurus with some pretty cool coloring. It's got the brown, some lighter tan, green, and then the clay red at the very top. All right, let's set it down next to the Therizinosaurus. Look at those spikes. They're a little bit taller than the Therizinosaurus, although if this was standing up all the way, it would definitely be a lot taller. Here is the Yangchuanosaurus figure. This, I don't think, was in the new Jurassic World Dominion movie, but it came out as part of the toy line. It's got some really cool coloring. It's got an action that lets you move the neck around in a lifelike way. And you know what? I think it is actually a little bit bigger than the Stegosaurus. So let's shift the Stegosaurus over and put this dinosaur right there. Next is a really interesting looking dinosaur. This is the Ankylosaurus. It's got the clay red coloring with the brown top, a super long neck, and it stands on 4 legs. Let's put this right next to the Stegosaurus figure. I can't quite tell which one is the next largest, but I'm gonna go with the Rajasaurus figure in the blue and gray coloring. And it's got that cool little spike right at the top of its head. Now let's set it right next to the Ankylosaurus. Let's see if it stands up. I think its legs are kind of broken, so that'll have to do. Here is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus figure. Once again, it has pretty similar coloring as the super colossal figure right here, and this one comes with sound effects as well. It's pretty cool, so let's set this right next to the Rajasaurus figure. The next in size, I think, is this Pyroraptor figurine. This is the basic edition, but it still has the cool fiery red coloring and the black on its tail, on its legs, and a little bit on its head too. Let's set them down right here. And very close in size to the Pyroraptor is this basic Atrociraptor figure in the same coloring as the super colossal figure that we have back here. So let's go down all the way to the end and set them on the table. All right, now the figures are getting a little bit smaller. I think next up is the Megaraptor figure in the bright red and blue and a little bit of tan right along its face. And this figure is cool because it actually has an action when you press down on its back. It has a chomping action. Here is, I believe it's pronounced the Giganotosaurus. And a cool new feature that Mattel is putting on these toys is this little slide. It's like a thing that swings back and forth, and it actually swings their head back and forth and opens their mouth too, which is pretty cool. Now let's set it down right next to the Megaraptor. Next is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx figure. This one comes in the gray dark blue with the yellow striping. And like all the Hammond Collection figures, is super posable and really cool. Let's put this down right at the end. Here we've got another Hammond Collection figurine. This is the Parasaurolophus. It's got some pretty bright coloring and of course is super posable and adjustable as well. Next is the bright Ichthyovenator. It looks kind of like a Spinosaurus because it has the big spine on its back and a long and narrow snout, but it has a super bright and much larger tail and is a lot smaller than a Spinosaurus, I think. So let's go ahead and put this down right next to the Parasaurolophus. Here we've got a huge Sinoceratops figurine with some bright yellow coloring around its all black eyes and the yellow coloring right on its tail as well. And like many of these other figures, it has the action that when you press down on its back, it lifts up its head. Let's see, next up in size is this Triceratops figure in the green and brown coloring. Let's put this at the very end. Oh, you know what? It looks like we're out of space at the very end though. So let's create a new row in the front, right up here. We've got another Triceratops figure next, but this one is from the Hammond Collection. So compared to this other Triceratops figure right here, you can see that this one has a lot more detailing and differencing in the color, because this one basically has two different colors. This one kind of fades into all sorts of other different colors. And of course, is a lot more posable as well. Next up is the Iguanodon figurine in the tan and darker brown on top with the striping. Let's set down this Iguanodon right next to the Triceratops. Now we're down to the really small ones. So let's start with this brand new one that I bought. This is the Geniodectes Cirrus dinosaur. All right, this dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. It's got a dark gray body, but then it has this super bright coloring along its leg, its neck, its face, and the super bright red on top. And this is the Extreme Battle Damage edition, so you can click it open and closed with that button on the top. All right, let's put this Geniodectes down right next to the Iguanodon. We've got a few more Extreme Battle Damage dinosaurs right here that are the same size. This first one is a Velociraptor, and I've also got an Atrociraptor figure. And they both have that button on the top that activates the battle damage on both sides of its body. Let's set these down next in line. I've got a couple more Atrociraptor figures right here. These are the non-battle damage versions. I've got an orange one with the tan striping, and then of course the white with brown striping, just like the giant super colossal version. Let's get this first Atrociraptor down, and the second one. Here is another Pyroraptor. This is a pretty small figure, and this one actually has the extreme battle damage on the side as well. Check that out, it's pretty cool. It's got the same classic red and black coloring along its body. And let's set it down right next to the white Atrociraptor. This next figure, I believe, is called the Moros Intrepidus. It's got some pretty unique green and orange coloring. It's got the light green eyes, some pretty cool feathering and detailing all over its body. And let's set it down as the next smallest dinosaur. All right, now we're getting down to the real small dinosaurs. These are both Dimetrodons, and their spines make them look really tall, but actually their bodies are really short. This first brown Dimetrodon is a normal one, doesn't have any special features, so we'll put that next in line. But this other Dimetrodon actually has battle damage on the side, like many of these other small figures, which is pretty cool. So let's set that down right there. And here are our last two dinosaurs. We've got a Miragaia dinosaur with the huge spikes on the side, and we've also got a Therizinosaurus figure, which is really small, but still has the giant claws and the classic coloring. All right, let's set these down. Looks like we have just enough space. Today, I'm showing you all of my T-Rex figures from biggest to smallest, so let's jump in. My first biggest T-Rex is this super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World. This T-Rex has a bright orange body with a darker brown top. And just like all my super colossal figures, it can swallow miniature dinosaurs down its throat to the stomach compartment that you can open it up. My next biggest T-Rex is this super colossal Jurassic Park T-Rex. This is actually from Jurassic World Dominion. It has a much darker body. It's got black on top, brown on the sides, and a lighter underbelly. It's got a huge jaw, and this figure can also swallow miniature dinosaurs and open them up in the stomach compartment. Next up, we've got a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe this T-Rex was called the Bull T-Rex. And this figure too can swallow miniature dinosaurs and other small stuff, and you can empty it out in the stomach compartment. Right on top here, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has some of the coolest coloring out of all the T-Rexes that I have. And it is remarkably adjustable too. You can bend the legs in all different directions, at the knees, at the ankles. You can bend the arms, you can twist the neck, and you can open the mouth, of course. Next, I've got this huge Jurassic World T-Rex with this ginormous head. This figure has the black top and brown sides, just like the super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World Dominion. And this T-Rex can be controlled by moving the tail around. Back here, we've got, I believe, what is called the Terran T-Rex, or something like that. The special feature on this T-Rex is the tearing action with its mouth. It swings its head around and closes it at the same time. And it's got a secondary action button to swing the tail around, too. This T-Rex, also from Jurassic World, is a stompin' T-Rex. When you twist the tail, it stomps its legs up and down. And it has those cool sound effects too. Plus, as you notice with the cage, it actually breaks free from the cage just by pressing the button on its back. That is pretty cool. Here we've got another Jurassic Park T-Rex. So this is a very old figure. It's got the rubber body. And with this T-Rex figure, you can move the tail to swing the head back and forth. So it's not as advanced as the new Jurassic World T-Rexes, but it's still pretty cool. We've got tons more T-Rexes to go. Let's keep digging. This huge T-Rex with similar coloring as the first super colossal T-Rex that we saw has some pretty cool functions. When you swing the tail, it swings its head back and forth, and it has a roar function when you move the tail, and a chomping action. All just by moving the tail. That is pretty cool. Over here, we've got a darker gray colored T-Rex with some brown on the top. This is also by Jurassic World. And you can twist the neck around, you can open the jaw, there's a button on top, activate the chomping, and you can swivel the tail around and move the legs as well. I think this one's bigger than the rest of them. This T-Rex has one of my favorite functions. It's actually battery operated, so that when you press the button on its tail, it opens its mouth and shakes. It actually has a motor in it to do that, which is pretty cool. Plus, you can move the tail around to swing its neck around to look. That's really cool. This T-Rex was custom colored a long time ago. It's got the bright green on the side, and it's got like camo colors and black all over the rest of its body with the lighter underbelly. And just like that bright orange T-Rex we saw just a second ago, you can control chomping and roaring with this figure just by moving the tail around. Next up, we've got a light brown T-Rex from Jurassic World. This is very similar in function to the darker gray figure that we just saw. It has the chomping button on the top of its head. You can move its neck around, and you can adjust the rest of its body parts too. This is the extreme battle damage T-Rex from Jurassic World. It's got some different patterning along the top of its body compared to the rest of them, but the most important part is the battle damage on both sides that you can press this button up top to turn it on and off. Plus, the rest of the figure is very adjustable as well. Here's another T-Rex with some battle damage on it. It doesn't have the extreme battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off, but it does have these slashes all over its body, even its legs and its tail too. The rest of the figure is very adjustable, and of course, the button at the top of the head for chomping. Next up, we've got another custom colored T-Rex. This one is a super bright red color. Looks kind of like fire in my opinion. And it's got the black on the top and the orange striping right along the sides. And this figure is adjustable just like many of the other figures that I've shown so far too. Next up, we've got another bright orange T-Rex with the brown top. This figure is fully adjustable throughout its body, and it's got the chomp button at the top of its head. Here's one of my favorite T-Rexes. This is a dark green color, and I'm not sure that I have any other green colored T-Rexes in my collection, so this one's pretty special to me. It's also got the black detailing along the top, and its body is fully adjustable with the legs, tail, arms, and neck, and there's the button at the top of its head for chomping. Let's keep going. We still got quite a few T-Rexes to go. This T-Rex is from the old Jurassic World toy line. It's got a rubberized neck, so it's a bit flexible there, as well as the rubberized tail. And it has a chomping action with the tail. Now we're getting down to some slightly smaller T-Rex figures. This is a Jurassic World T-Rex, and it is actually a hybrid. It's got some spikes on the top of its head that you can push down and activate them by pressing the button on its back. Here is another custom colored T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. It is bright red in color with black spots all over and the yellow underbelly, and it also has a chomping action on its back. Here's another similar T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. This T-Rex is light tan in color all over its body. It's a little bit lighter on its belly. And just like the other two that we just saw, it has the chomping action button on its back. All right, this next T-Rex is a little bit smaller. This is a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe it's a juvenile T-Rex, and it's actually got some battle damage right on the side. Next up, we've got a new Jurassic World Dominion figure. This, I believe, is the Sound Surge T-Rex. It's pretty small in size, and you have to open and close its jaw manually, but it does come with some awesome sound effects. And we've got some model T-Rexes in here. I'm not sure what brand this is from, and you can't move any of the limbs or the jaw on this figure, but it's got the dark brown coloring. It's got some interesting shading and black stripes all over its body. Here is another dark brown model T-Rex, but on this one you can open and close its jaw. It's also got the black stripes and the lighter underbelly too. Check out that little bit of yellow right there on its nose. It's interesting. Here is a dark green model T-Rex. This one, you cannot move any of its body parts, so it is standing in this awesome roaring pose, just like I'm sure you've seen in the movies. Here is a bright orange or red model T-Rex. With this figure, you can open and close the jaw, check out all those little teeth, and this figure looks quite a bit more muscular than a lot of the T-Rexes, I will say. Here is a super bright model T-Rex. It's got the bright blue along the top of its body, as well as the gold stripes. It's got a gray underbelly, and some teal coloring right along its face. Here is a darker model T-Rex. I love the attention to detail with the skin. It's like you can see all these little bumps all over its body. It's got the black stripes as well, and on this model you can open and close its mouth. Here is a super striped T-Rex. This has some really bold black stripes right along the top of its body, while the rest of its body is this soft tan or orange color, and it's got some super bright yellow eyes too. And unfortunately, you cannot move any of the body parts on this model. Next up, we've got a light green colored T-Rex with some darker shading and detailing along its body. You can see those bumps right along its spine. And this figure does not have any moving parts either, so it is stuck in this roaring pose. We've got some even smaller T-Rexes in here. Here is a Jurassic World T-Rex that is pretty small. It's probably 7 inches from tail to the nose, and it fits easily in my hand. It's got some battle damage on the side, and the tail controls the jaw and face. We've actually got a few more Jurassic World T-Rexes just like that last one. This first one is actually a hybrid T-Rex. It is a hybrid with a Dilophosaurus, as you can tell by these huge frills in the front. It's still got the battle damage on the side, and it's got this reflective gold along the top of its body and the very front too. And this T-Rex has a bright green body. It's got the battle damage on the side still, and some darker detailing right along its face. This T-Rex figure is from Jurassic Park, so this is a super old figure. It's got some interesting purple detailing along the top. It's got a tan body, and actually, this figure has a unique feature on the leg. You can actually bend it like that, because it is a broken leg for this T-Rex. Right over here, we've got another juvenile T-Rex. This one has a bandage on its leg and the restraint on its mouth, so it can't bite people. It is super bright green with some cool detailing along the back and is very adjustable with all of its limbs too. This baby T-Rex is also from Jurassic World. It is bright green or yellow in color with some detailing along the top, and when you pull down on the tail, it chomps its jaws shut. All right, we've got some super small T-Rexes in here. I believe this one is from Jurassic World. I'm not sure actually, but they are both brown in color. This one is very adjustable. You can even move the tail around, you can move the legs and open and close the jaw. But this figure doesn't have any moving parts actually. And our last two T-Rexes of this collection from biggest to smallest. We've got a bright blue T-Rex with black stripes and no movable body parts. And this T-Rex here, you can move the legs, you can twist the tail around, and you can open and close the jaw too.
Today we're going to be checking out a collection of some of my scariest carnivore dinosaurs from biggest to smallest, and we're going to be putting them up over here to check them out side by side. So let's get started with the biggest one, the Indominus Rex. This figure is absolutely massive. It is larger than a lot of my T-Rex figures, and this is actually the battle damage edition. See, it turns red when you press the button, which is really cool. Plus, the rest of the body is very adjustable. You can move all its arms, its legs, you can adjust its neck, and it even has a button on its tail to activate the jaw. So let's go ahead and set the Indominus Rex down at the edge right over here. Moving on, let's see what the next largest dinosaur is. Probably the Giganotosaurus. This is another super large figure. It's got the green body with the black detailing all over, and it has a few actions actually as well. The first action is a button on the top of its tail that activates the swinging action with its entire upper torso. And there's also a button beneath its tail to activate just the jaw alone. All right, let's put this Giganotosaurus down right next to the Indominus Rex. And look at the size difference even between those two as well. That's pretty crazy. All right, next up, let's see. I bet it's one of the T-Rexes, and it's probably the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This figure has some awesome coloring and shading and is the most posable out of basically all my T-Rex figures. And an interesting feature of the Hammond Collection is the realistic parts of its mouth. It's got these flaps on its side that are rubber, so they actually move around pretty realistically. The tongue is also rubberized as well. Let's put this Hammond Collection T-Rex right next to the Giganotosaurus. All right, I bet the next biggest one is this other T-Rex figure. This is a Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. It's got some brand new coloring. It's got the orange-brown color and some gray detailing on the top. And this is actually an extreme battle damage T-Rex. You can press the button to reveal the damage on its side, just like that Indominus Rex over there. So, since this is the next biggest T-Rex, let's put it down right next to the Hammond Collection T-Rex. All right, looking pretty good so far. Next up in size is this Allosaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This is the largest Allosaurus figure that I have, and it actually has some battle damage on the side. Let me show you that. Right here, you see it's hidden completely right now, but then you can click it down to reveal the ribs, and then you can even lift those up to reveal the intestines inside. This is really cool, and the only Allosaurus that I have that can do that. Plus, it has an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Let's put this Allosaurus down right next to the extreme battle damage T-Rex. Let's see, what's next biggest in size? I think it might be this Indoraptor right here. This thing's pretty large. It's got the all black body with the iconic gold stripe down its side. And this one actually has a few actions. You can see there's a little button on its tail right there to activate its arms. And there's a button at the bottom of its tail to activate its jaw too. All right, let's set this Indoraptor down next to the Allosaurus. That Allosaurus is quite a bit larger. All right, let's keep digging. I think this Carnotaurus might be the next largest size. It's got some battle damage on its nose, and it is the darker brown version of the Carnotaurus. And it has the action button on its tail to activate the jaw as well. Let's set it down. You know what? I think it might be larger than the Indoraptor, so let's go ahead and have them switch places real quick. There we go. That's looking better. Over here, we've got another Carnotaurus figure, but this one is smaller than the one that I just showed you, and it is a bit more brightly colored. It's a brighter red, it has the light underbelly, and then the black detailing on the top, and it has an action button on its back instead of its tail to activate the jaw. All right, let's set it down right next to the Indoraptor. Let's see, I think the next biggest carnivore in this collection is a Tarbosaurus. And this is definitely a scary looking carnivore. Check out that red underneath its chin and those red eyes too. And all those spikes, those are massive. Let's put this down right next to the Carnotaurus. Check out all those dinosaurs we have so far. Super cool. All right, let's see, next in size, maybe this other Allosaurus figure right here. This Allosaurus has a slide lever action on its back, so you get a bunch of different sound effects with it. You can get a growl all the way to a roar. All right, let's set this dinosaur down right next to the Tarbosaurus. And it is quite a bit smaller than the Tarbosaurus. Next up, I think, is the Giganotosaurus. This is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus, so a whole lot smaller than the one that we saw earlier, but it has the same coloring and detailing, and it has sound effects that you can hear that you can activate by pressing this button up top. All right, let's set it down right next to the Allosaurus. They're actually pretty similar in size, so it might be a little hard to tell who's larger, but I think it's still the Allosaurus. Next, I think, is a Pyroraptor figure. This is the new Jurassic World Dominion version, and it is the basic version as well, so you can't open and close the jaw, but you can move the arms, the legs, and the tail a bit. Let's set this down right next to the smaller Giganotosaurus figure. Next up in size in the Scary Carnivore collection is the Megaraptor. This thing has some super bright coloring. You can tell that it is a feathered dinosaur. You can see some feathers on its legs, on its tail, on its arms. It's pretty cool. So let's set this down right next to the Megaraptor. Next up is this slightly smaller Endoraptor, a bit smaller than the earlier version that we saw, but it has the same coloring, and this one actually does not have any action buttons, but it is superposable. Let's put this down next to the Megaraptor. Next in size, we've got the basic Atrociraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This has the white body with the brown striping all over and those bright red eyes. Let's put this down next to the smaller Endoraptor. Here is an Amber Collection Velociraptor. I can't remember which Velociraptor this is, but it has the brown coloring with the darker striping all over its body. Looks like we're running out of room on the edge there, so we're gonna create a new row right up in front here. Next is this much smaller Indominus Rex figure. This is an earlier version of the Indominus Rex compared to this one way over here on the edge, and look at that size difference too. And actually, I think this smaller Indominus Rex has a slightly more blue tone than the super large one. It's pretty cool. Let's put this down right next to the Amber Collection Velociraptor. For the next smallest Scary Carnivore, I've actually got this brand new one from Jurassic World Dominion. This one I believe is pronounced Quilnosaurus. Let's open it up. So this is a pretty interesting looking dinosaur, and it's actually an extreme battle damage edition that you can see on the sides. Just click this button, and there you go, you reveal the damage underneath. Plus you can pose its neck, and I think you can even open and close its mouth too. There we go, that's pretty cool. Let's put this down next to the Indominus Rex. The next up in size of Scary Carnivores is this extreme battle damage Pyroraptor. Just like the dinosaur that we just saw, there's a button on top that activates the battle damage. Plus, the rest of its body is posable as well. And check out the size difference from this Pyroraptor to this basic Pyroraptor right there. A huge difference in size. Let's put it down right up front here. All right, now we're getting down to the really small ones. Here is a super small Atrociraptor figure. It has the same color as the basic Atrociraptor that we saw earlier, but is a whole lot smaller. So let's put this right next to the Pyroraptor. And I've actually got one more Atrociraptor figure in here with totally different coloring. This one is a bright orange with tan stripes on its body, and it's got some yellow, evil looking eyes. So let's put this right next to the smaller Atrociraptor right in front. And it looks like we've got a few Velociraptor figures in here. This first one is Velociraptor Blue with the iconic blue striping down both sides of its body. So let's put Velociraptor Blue right next to the orange Atrociraptor. And this other Velociraptor that I've got in here is a brown and yellow Velociraptor. It's pretty similar to Velociraptor Blue, but different coloring, and it's got some reflective green eyes. That's pretty cool. Let's set this one down. And finally, I've got some super small Jurassic World Scary Carnivore figures in here. Let's put these on the table and check them out one by one. I think the first largest is probably this Baryonyx. I think it's a Baryonyx figure. It's all green in color, so not a whole lot of difference with the coloring, but it's got a decent amount of texturing. Let's put this next to the larger Velociraptor. Next up in size, let's see, I think is probably this Velociraptor figure. This one has two different colors on it, even though it's so small. Oh no, actually three. It's got a pink tongue and the two tones of gray on its body. That's pretty cool. Let's put it down next to the Baryonyx. Next up is the Carnotaurus figure. I got this one pretty recently in a pack, and you can actually open and close its mouth. Let's set this one down here. And last of all is this Baryonyx figure that actually came in the same pack as this little Carnotaurus. Let's put them side by side, and it is a bit smaller. All right, we're finished. I'm gonna be showing you my entire raptor collection from Jurassic World and ranking them from biggest all the way to the smallest. The first and largest raptor of this collection is this custom colored super colossal Indoraptor. This used to be a Velociraptor blue figure, but now it has the black with the gold stripe down its back for the Indoraptor. For the next biggest figure is another super colossal. This is Velociraptor blue. And as you can see, these two super colossal figures are actually identical. So this one originally used to be a Velociraptor blue just like this. Moving on to our next biggest figure is this Dino Trackers Indoraptor. This is quite a new figure and it's got a really cool reflective blue color all over it. It's also got an action button on its back to activate its jaw. And you can move the arms to twist the neck back and forth too. Next up in size, let's see, I think it's actually another Indoraptor, but this is an older figure. This is the Grab and Growl version. And this figure is pretty hard to find nowadays, so it's actually pretty rare. And on this figure, you can use the tail to open and close the jaw, to swing the arms back and forth, and to move the entire torso. Check it out, they're pretty close in size. Next up, I'm gonna be opening a brand new one. This is the Primal Pal Velociraptor blue figure. Let's open it up. So this figure has a shorter tail than a lot of the Velociraptor figures I have, and it actually has some pretty realistic movements. You can move it side to side, it's got some sound effects, and you can push it down for a chomp action too. And let's set that right next in line. Moving right along here, I think we've got our final Indoraptor of this collection. A lot of these Indoraptors are pretty big. This is the smallest one, and it doesn't have any action buttons, but all of its limbs are still extremely posable. This next one is the basic Velociraptor blue figure. There's not too much that you can adjust with it, but it still has movable arms, legs, and a tail. This next one is another medium-sized basic Velociraptor figure, but it has totally different coloring. It's in a bright orange and brown coloring. Next, we've got our first Atrociraptor of this collection, and this figure I actually personally custom colored. This is another basic figure from Jurassic World, so it doesn't have that many action features, but I'm really happy with how the color turned out. Check it out, here's another Atrociraptor figure. This is the basic edition, once again from Jurassic World. So let's set this down right next to the custom colored one. And here is our first Pyroraptor of this collection. This is the basic edition, so you can move its arms, its legs, and its tail. And I think it might be a little bit smaller or actually the same size as the Atrociraptors. All right, here is the first and only Megaraptor that I have in my entire collection. This is from the Jurassic World Dominion series. It's got some huge claws on its hand, and when you press down on its back, it has a chomping action. For the next in size, let's go with the Hammond Edition Velociraptor. These raptors are pretty cool because they are super articulate with their limbs, and they have quite a bit more detail than the basic ones. And right over here is another Amber Collection Velociraptor. This one is Velociraptor Blue. Check out that blue stripe down its back. And here is the final Amber Collection Velociraptor that I have in this collection. This one is the bright green with stripes on it. And let's set that down right next in line. Next up here is a pretty old Jurassic World figure. This is one of the first Velociraptors that Jurassic World released for the first movie. And these figures have quite a hard time standing up, so let's see if we can get it to stand up in line as the next in size. All right, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. Here is another Atrociraptor figure in the bright orange coloring, but this is actually a Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor. Let's turn on the power and let's see it come to life. All right, now we're getting down to the real small raptors. Let's open up this new Austroraptor from the Dino Tracker series. So I think this is the only Austroraptor that I have in my entire collection. And this one has a much narrower and longer snout than a lot of the Velociraptor figures I have in my collection, but it's still got some feathering on its elbows.
right over here, I've got a super bright Velociraptor figure. It's in a bright blue color, and this one is actually spring-loaded, so you can launch it up into the air. Here, let me show you how it leaps. You press down, and then you release. This next one is another spring-loaded Velociraptor, but this is in a brown and dark brown coloring. Let's check out that jumping action on this one too. Next up, this Velociraptor figure has a slashing action. So when you push on its torso, it swings back and forth, and it's actually spring-loaded too, so it can be pretty fast. All right, let's set this down next in line. This next one is a darker colored Velociraptor, and it has a different feature. There's a button on its back that you can use for a slashing action. Next, we've got our final Atrociraptor figure of this collection, and this is a battle damage edition. There is a button on its back that you can use to activate the battle damage on the side. And since we're out of space on the very end of the table, let's start a new line up front here. This next figure is a newer Velociraptor from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got a darker body with some bright detailing on the top. This next raptor is a really cool colored Velociraptor. Check out that green speckled detailing on the top of its body. And let's set that down right there. Here's a different looking Velociraptor blue figure. This might actually be Velociraptor Beta because it does look quite a bit younger. Now this is an amazingly colored Velociraptor. Check out that reflective gold right on its head. And let's put that next in line. All right, only two left. This next one is another Pyroraptor figure, but this one is in a battle damage edition with a button on the top to open and close the battle damage. And the final raptor in this biggest to smallest collection is this click tracker Atrociraptor. So after you turn it on, you use the remote and it follows the sound. Let's check that out. It's pretty cool. I like that it's motorized.
Today we're checking out Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom versus Camp Cretaceous, and we're going to be putting them all side by side on this super long table for a size comparison. So let's get started with the biggest ones from Camp Cretaceous. This first one is the super colossal Indominus Rex figure. This figure features some really cool looking teeth. It's got huge claws on its hands. It's got some cool detailing along its whole body, a ton of spikes along its back as well. This one is definitely the biggest. And we're gonna put this right here in the Camp Cretaceous line. The next largest is also from Camp Cretaceous, actually. This is Carnivore Toro. This is the super colossal figure. And this figure features the classic clay and brown coloring along the body, along with the battle damage right along its nose, and the two massive horns as well. Let's put this right next to the Indominus Rex on the Camp Cretaceous line. Unfortunately, Fallen Kingdom does not have any super colossal figures, but we'll get started with the biggest figures that I do have from Fallen Kingdom. This first one is a giant T-Rex, and this one features some pretty cool attack moves. If you move its tail, it lifts its head up for a roar, and if you move the tail downwards, it actually chomps it towards the ground. Plus, you can move it side to side to swivel the head too. So we're gonna put this first Fallen Kingdom dinosaur right here. All of our Fallen Kingdom dinosaurs will go along the front right here, and Camp Cretaceous will go along the back. Let's go ahead and grab another Fallen Kingdom dinosaur. This is another T-Rex, but this is the battle damage edition. You can see it has a lot of the same coloring along most of its body as the first T-Rex, but it's got some really cool battle damage coloring. You can see some slashes on its neck, on its chin, and all over its body. And it is a little bit smaller than the first T-Rex, so let's set them down right next to it. Moving on to the next largest Camp Cretaceous, we've got the Spinosaurus figure from Camp Cretaceous with the tan coloring. It's got the super long snout, and some really big front arms. You'll notice that the arms on a Spinosaurus are a lot larger than on a T-Rex figure. Look how much bigger it is on a Spinosaurus. Now let's go ahead and set this Spinosaurus next in line on the Camp Cretaceous line. Look at that size difference between the super colossal figure and this Spinosaurus. That is a huge difference. Next from Fallen Kingdom, I think the next biggest figure is the Grab and Growl Indoraptor figure. This figure features super long front arms. It's also got a long tail and 2 attack buttons on its tail. The first activates its claws for slashing back and forth, and the second button activates the jaw, and you can see that its eyes light up as well. That is really cool. Let's set this down next to the battle damaged T-Rex. Going back to Camp Cretaceous, our next biggest dinosaur figure is this Carnotaurus figure. And let's check it out compared to the super colossal version way up there. Check out the color difference. This one's a lot darker brown. They both have the damage on their nose though, which is pretty cool. And this Carnotaurus has a button on its tail to activate its jaw too. From Fallen Kingdom, we actually have a Carnotaurus figure as well. This one is a little bit smaller compared to the Camp Cretaceous Carnotaurus. You can see the size difference right there, and the color difference as well. And this figure has a button on its back to activate its jaw and its neck as well. Next from Camp Cretaceous, we've got the Scorpius Rex figure. I think this is the largest Scorpius Rex figure that I have. It's got the yellow underbelly and the black sides and the darker black top. And this figure features some pretty cool attack buttons as well. One for the jaw and then one for slashing the arms too. Let's set this down next to the Carnotaurus. From the Fallen Kingdom toy line, we've got another Indoraptor figure that is slightly smaller than the Grab and Growl Indoraptor. It still has the same coloring and many of the same features, but this one doesn't have any attack buttons or anything like that, but it is super posable. From Camp Cretaceous, we've got an Albertosaurus figure with the green and orange coloring. This figure reminds me a lot of a T-Rex, but it's got some differences in some spikes on the top of its head, and I think the shape of this dinosaur's head is a little bit different than a T-Rex as well. So let's go ahead and put this on the Camp Cretaceous line right here, next in size. Next in size from Fallen Kingdom is the Suchomimus figure in the blue and yellow coloring. And it's got an action button on its back for the chomping or roaring action. This is a really colorful dinosaur. Let's put this right next to the Indoraptor figure. Next is the Camp Cretaceous Cryolophosaurus figure. This figure is also in a dark blue color, just like the Suchomimus, but it also has some orange along its back and its head as well. Next up is the Fallen Kingdom Allosaurus figure in the gray and yellow coloring. This figure features some cool detailing along the top of its head. It's got those really tall crown eyebrow-like things, and it's got an action button on its back for chomping its jaw open and shut. Let's set this down next to the Suchomimus. From Camp Cretaceous, we've got a Baryonyx figure in the two-toned green and the brown coloring along the top. This figure features a slide lever action to open and shut the jaw, along with a ton of different sound effects. Now let's put this on the Camp Cretaceous line. Here is the Fallen Kingdom Ceratosaurus figure. This figure has some red, yellow, and black on its body, and it features movable arms, legs, and a tail, and the button on its back to operate the jaw. For Camp Cretaceous, we've got another Baryonyx figure, also with the green and brown, but slightly different coloring. And this figure just has a button on its back to activate the jaw and the sound effects too. On the Fallen Kingdom side, we've got a Metriacanthosaurus figure with this dark yellow and green coloring. This figure features movable arms and legs, and it has a button on the top of its back to activate the jaw. All right, that's looking good so far. Next, for Camp Cretaceous, we've got the reflective Parasaurolophus figure. This figure features some really cool coloring. Look how shiny and reflective that is. It also has a tail that moves the head around, and there are adjustable legs on both the back and the front as well. This is the Fallen Kingdom Stegosaurus figure. It's in a teal bluish color. It's also got the lighter underbelly. And this figure features a slashing attack with its tail when you press down on its spine right there. Let's set this down next in the Fallen Kingdom line. For Camp Cretaceous, we've got a Spinosaurus figure in the green, tan, and kind of a darkish orange color. It's also got some yellow eyes, and this figure features a tail that activates the neck so you can move it around, and the sound effects as well. For Fallen Kingdom, I believe that this is a Spinosaurus as well. It looks quite a bit different, it has some different coloring, and some different horns on the front as well. And this figure features a button on its back that moves its head up and down. Here's another Spinosaurus figure, but this one is from Camp Cretaceous, and it's got some interesting coloring. The all black eyes, its body is mostly this light gray-blue coloring with some tan detailing all over as well. And this figure features the tail that you can use to move its neck around as well. On the Fallen Kingdom side, I've got another Triceratops figure in the clay orange coloring, and it's got brown detailing along the top. This figure features some huge horns on its face and an action button on its back for a slashing or a roaring action. And here is the last Triceratops of this video. This one is from Camp Cretaceous. It's got the brown and blue coloring, the huge horns in the front, and the tail that controls the head. Next in size for Fallen Kingdom is this Ankylosaurus figure. It's got the huge spikes coming out of its side, as well as the hard shell on top, and an action button along its back for swinging its tail back and forth. From Camp Cretaceous, we've got a Sarcosuchus figure with the purple, orange, red, and gray-blue coloring. This figure features a really long torso, a super long mouth, and some short stubby legs, as well as an action button on its tail to open and close the jaw and to move its head around too. Now we're getting down to the real small figures. This is the Velociraptor blue figure from Fallen Kingdom. And this features movable legs, arms, and you can open and close its mouth as well. I've also got a Velociraptor from Camp Cretaceous here. This one is a green with darker green striping. And this figure actually features an attack button on its back that moves its claws back and forth. Let's put it right there on the Camp Cretaceous line. For Fallen Kingdom, we've got a Stygimoloch figure with the orange and purple detailing. And this figure has an action with its tail used for headbutting. And let's put this right at the end of the Fallen Kingdom line. I've also got a Stygimoloch figure for Camp Cretaceous as well. This one also has the clay coloring with the purple detailing, but this one does not feature an attack button with its tail to move its head back and forth for headbutting. And the last Fallen Kingdom figure in this collection is this extreme battle damage Herrerasaurus. You can see that you can open and close it right there on the side. And for our final dinosaur is the Monolophosaurus from Camp Cretaceous. This figure features an action where you can move its tail to open and close its jaw. All right, there is our entire Camp Cretaceous versus Fallen Kingdom, biggest to smallest. Let's check out all these Camp Cretaceous figures from big to small. And our Fallen Kingdom from biggest to smallest.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a ton of Predator dinosaur figures from the
Okay, let's go ahead and add these to my giant Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, Godzilla, King Kong collection with over 1,000 dinosaurs and King Kongs and Jurassic World, Jurassic Park classics from Hasbro, Mattel. I mean, a lot of custom dinos, just really cool stuff in my giant Jurassic World, Jurassic Park studio on Amazing Dinosaurs on YouTube. Cool.